Good evening everyone. So today the GS1 mains paper of 2025 has been conducted and we are going to discuss the various questions that have come with respect to society, and we are also going to discuss one question regarding geography. So if you look at the questions that have come with respect to society, to a large extent the questions in society are straightforward this year. There are not many surprises with respect to society questions. However, there are certain questions which seem, you can say, out of context when it comes to society. For example, the 9th question is asking you regarding ethos of civil services and how it is standing with, you can say, how it is representing professionalism and how it is representing nationalistic consciousness. So this may seem out of context, but we have a syllabus topic called developmental issues. So the interpretation of this developmental issues is very broad. So you can categorize this question under this syllabus topic. So next, if you look at the first question, so this question was asked in the context because Smart Cities mission was launched 10 years ago. So this was launched in 2015. So the context for this question, how does a smart city in India address the issues of urban poverty and distributive justice? So this is in the context. Then generally there is a, every year we will see generally one question regarding your, you can say, impact of globalization on Indian society. So here he is asking you regarding globalization and how it is leading to aggressive consumer culture. So we have to justify whether it is leading to only aggressive consumer culture or some other alternatives are also being provided. So next, if you look at the 15 markers, how do you account for the growing fast food industries given that there are increased health concerns in the modern society? So this is touching upon the health issues, the health aspects. Again, this is going to be covered under your developmental issues. Then the 19th question, it is talking about achieving sustainable growth with emphasis on environmental protection could lead to conflict with poor people's need in a country like India. So this is again pitting with respect to whatever you can say we are doing for environmental protection or conservation. So how is it impacting the needs of the poor? Then if you look at the last question that is given, so the 20th one, this is regarding your tribal development, and he is giving you a basic, you can say, assertion that tribal development in India is centered around two axes majorly, that is displacement and, you can say, rehabilitation. So he is giving you, he is asking you, give your opinion. So we are going to look into each of these questions individually. So let's look at the first question. So the first question is talking about smart city. So these are the keywords with respect to, you can say, the question. Smart city is there and how it is addressing the issues of urban poverty, and another is distributive justice. So if you are thinking of starting this question, so introduction, we can define what is a smart city. So this will to a large extent ensure that you are giving a proper definition. So for example, smart cities are majorly, you can say, these are nothing but integrating digital technologies and, you can say, data with respect to urban governance, so that what is the ultimate objective? Ultimate objective is to improve ease of living. So this is the ultimate objective. One additional thing that you can do is with respect to, you can also ensure that what are the various principles that generally govern the smart cities. So one is with respect to digital technologies, then infrastructure, then it is also, you can say, concerned with respect to basic services, improving basic services. Then it is also concerned with citizen-centric governance. Other than this, it is also concerned with respect to sustainability. These are the various principles that are generally governing the, you can say, smart cities. Next, if you are coming to the main body, so first aspect that we are going to address is how is smart city addressing urban poverty. this is the first major subheading that you are going to have with respect to the answer. So if you can think of various aspects, urban poverty issues is firstly concerned with respect to livelihoods. So how is a smart city ensuring livelihoods? So what it is going to do, it is going to ensure say, improving the skill development of the people. All these are integrated with respect to a smart city. On top of this, it is also trying to ensure the basic needs. So one is regarding livelihoods, other is with respect to ensuring proper basic needs with respect to the people. So if you look at the poor, if you are looking at urbanization in India, it is mostly haphazard. Majority of the times, poor people don't have proper access to drinking water, don't have proper access to sanitation or waste management. All these are the basic aspects that poor people are lacking in cities. So what is a smart city going to do? Smart city is going to ensure that the access to these, you can say, basic needs are provided to the poor people. Other than this, it is also going to ensure proper access to education and health. So improved education through, you can say, telemedicine or with respect to digital classrooms. So this is how we are going to bridge the gap between, you can say, the outcomes, whether it is with respect to the urban poor and with respect to the urban elite. Then other than this, it is also going to ensure with respect to bridge the digital divide that is there. Again, it is trying to provide public Wi-Fi or with respect to various, you can say, internet kiosks are being provided. All these aspects are, you can say, integrated with respect to a smart city. And these are the various issues. Other than this, it is also addressing smart mobility. It is making sure that, you can say, transportation with respect to urban areas is going to be, you can say, affordable. Other than this, it is also focusing on ensuring, you can say, proper access to energy, electricity, cheaper electricity. We are incorporating, you can say, renewable energy with respect to cities. So in that way, the cost of, you can say, electricity is going to come down. Then the next subheading that you are going to put is going to be regarding, again, smart city, how it is going to ensure distributive justice. So this is another major theme. One thing you have to keep in mind is if you are unable to, you can say, differentiate both aspects, then you can put a common subheading, smart city, how it is dealing with respect to issues of urban poverty and distributive justice. Then you can write 8 to 10 points under these subheadings. So what is distributive justice? Distributive justice is majorly dealing with respect to the needs of the vulnerable people or, you can say, the poor, and it is also looking at what are the, you can say, burdens of the poor and how these are distributed across the society. And it is also trying to ensure equity with respect to the development. So if you are looking at smart cities, how it is trying to ensure distributive justice, it is through majorly e-governance, where people are encouraged to participate in the planning process and people are able to, you can say, get access to services in a quick and fair manner, and they are also, you can say, getting access to grievance redressal mechanisms. So we have, you can say, integrated command and control systems that are established across the smart cities in India. So that is going to deal with grievance redressal or with respect to, you can say, access to services. Other than this, it is also looking at resource allocation, fair resource allocation. So in a smart city, by incorporating various sustainable practices and, you can say, adopting LEDs or with respect to, you can say, going towards renewable energy, all these are going to reduce the cost of provision of basic services. How we can say, ensure proper allocation is we can divert whatever funding that we are, can say, spending on the normal activities, and whatever we are, can say, saving from those things, we can divert it to welfare. So that is how we can ensure proper resource allocation. Other than this, it is also looking at, you can say, safety aspects. So whether it is for women or children, smart cities are going to promote proper safety with respect to the urban areas. Along with this, you can also think of, you can say, with respect to climate justice or environmental justice perspective. So by adopting sustainability principles, what we are going to do, we are going to ensure reduction in water pollution, reduction in air pollution. This is going to ensure proper health outcomes for the poor. So this is how we are trying to ensure distributive justice with respect to a smart city. Then when it comes to conclusion you can highlight with respect to the smart city mission that is there. The smart city mission that has been launched in 2015. So this is going to ensure you can, I can say, conclude with respect to smart cities. Through smart cities mission, India is trying to promote smart cities and how it is trying to address urban poverty and you can say distributive justice regarding your urban governance, ultimately enhancing the ease of living with respect to the urban areas. So that is how you can conclude your answer. This is normally a straightforward question, so not that difficult with respect to this question. So next, the question is talking about what are the ethos of civil service in India and how it is, you can say, a combination of professionalism and nationalistic consciousness. So the keywords with respect to this question are ethos of civil service and how it is a combination of both professionalism and nationalistic consciousness. So this is, to a large extent, you might feel this is an ethics related question, but as I have told you previously, because society syllabus is having developmental issues can be interpreted in a much more broader manner. So this can be considered as given under developmental issues. So now if you look at the case of civil service, so introduction can be given with respect to what is the ethos of civil service. These are nothing but the values and the principles that are guiding civil servants in performing their duties. Moreover, you can also use a statement that civil service is called as the steel frame of India by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So this is to ensure, you can say, proper continuity with respect to the governance and deliver, you can say, developmental goals with respect to India. So that can be your introduction. Then when it comes to the main body, so as you have, you can say, generally you read with respect to the foundational value of civil services. These are your integrity, objectivity, non-partisanship, you can say, compassion towards, you can say, weaker sections, or empathy. All these are the foundational values that you can use with respect to this question. If you look at the first major subheading that you are going to put, so ethos of civil service, how it is ensuring professionalism. So professionalism is with respect to, you can say, delivering a better job with respect to governance and policy implementation and policy making. So what type of values you can think? One is with respect to, you can say, first and foremost is, you can say, objectivity and neutrality. These are the various. Objectivity is with respect to, you can say, looking at the issue with an objective manner, and instead of, you can say, swaying towards political goals, we are looking at a proper objective, you can say, issue, and we are trying to ensure proper whatever policies that we are implementing, it is in the national developmental goals perspective. Then neutrality is ensuring that civil servants remain neutral, whether it is with respect to political perspective, they are not swayed by the, you can say, the goals and aspirations of the politicians. Other than that, with respect to, you can say, integrity, this is ensuring honesty with respect to the civil services, and is also trying to ensure that they are going to remain corruption free. Other than this, with respect to specialization, so this is with respect to delivering the needed expertise when it comes to policy making, whether it is with respect to finance, whether it is with respect to science and technology, or whether it is with respect to, you can say, various ministries, health ministry or various environmental ministry, multiple ministries. So in that sense, specialization is also one that we are going to emphasize with respect to, you can say, how civil service ethos are trying to promote professionalism. Other than this, you can also, other subheading that you are going to get is how ethos of civil service is trying to promote nationalistic consciousness. So this is another important aspect that has been, you can say, given in the question. So if you look at the ethos of civil service, the values that are guiding them, first and foremost is, you can say, constitutional values. Civil services are bound by constitutional values. So these are your equality, justice, secularism, fraternity. These are the values that civil services have to promote. That inherently ensures nationalistic consciousness. Other than this, if you are looking at, you can say, objectives, whenever we are trying to implement national policies, or you can say we are coming up with various schemes, civil services always keeps national objectives and goals in mind. developmental parameters. Other than this, you can also think with respect to, you can say they are duty bound, whether it is with respect to ensuring poor people needs or with respect to achieving the economic goals that we have set for our own country. Then other than this, you can also emphasize the service nature or service, you can say ethos of the civil services, that is also trying to ensure, you can say, address the needs of the vulnerable sections. On top of this, you can also give with respect to, they are trying to promote national integration. We have all India based civil services cadres, so in that sense they are trying to promote in a way national integration. All these aspects you can address regarding your how civil services ethos are resulting in nationalistic consciousness. When it comes to conclusion, you can ultimately again, you can say, re-emphasize the important goal, or you can say role of civil services in ensuring that India is going to achieve its economic goals or with respect to its developmental parameters. So we have Viksit Bharat by 2047, so we can link the role of civil services with respect to how we are going to achieve Viksit Bharat by 2047. So again, straightforward question, not that difficult if you are able to recall the major values that are, you can say, guiding the civil services, you will be able to write a good answer with respect to this question. So next, do you think that globalization results in an only aggressive consumer culture? Justify your answer. So this question is, to a certain extent, it is asking your opinion. So do you think globalization results only is a keyword in aggressive consumer culture? So here the basic issue is, he is linking globalization to aggressive consumer culture that we generally are seeing with respect to developed countries, and slowly it is spreading to developing countries because of globalization. So he is asking you whether you are going to agree with this or disagree with this. So if you look at the introduction, so introduction is with respect to globalization. What is it majorly? So this you can address to a large extent in your introduction, and it is ultimately trying to, you can say, you can link it to aggressive consumer culture as a connecting line. Then when it comes to your main body, so the first aspect that you are going to say is, you can say, globalization, how it is promoting aggressive consumer culture. So this is the first aspect that you are going to talk about. So now we have to, you can say, deconstruct how globalization is, you can say, resulting in aggressive consumer culture. First and foremost is, you can say, regarding your homogenization of cultures. So globalization is mostly trying to promote Western culture. So in that sense, to a large extent, homogenization of cultures, this is also called as McDonaldization of culture. So these are also various aspects that you can write. Other than this, you can also write, you can say, commodification of identity. Other than that, you can also write with respect to, you can say, e-commerce boom, and you can say with respect to consumer overconsumption that is being promoted through your credit. Then other than this, you can also think of with respect to, you can say, disposable consumption that is being promoted. With respect to the present developmental scenario. Other than this, you can also highlight with respect to the MNCs and its role. These are resulting in, you can say, mega brands that are being promoted. Then other than this, you can also try to address the marketing aggressive marketing that is being done by these companies. That is also one of the major reasons why we are seeing this with respect to aggressive consumer culture. So these are the various aspects that you can highlight with respect to how globalization is resulting in aggressive consumer culture. Now, as a flip side to this, you can also address how globalization is promoting sustainable culture, consumption culture. So if you look at globalization, globalization is in a way trying to address the common issues that are faced by the global world. So in that sense, your climate change is a major issue, environmental conservation, or you can say environmental erosion is a major concern. So in that sense, there are multiple initiatives that are being taken up in order to promote sustainable consumption culture. So here you can highlight your SDGs, then you can also highlight the life mission that India has given. Other than this, you can also highlight the ocean cleanup and plastics, reducing the use of plastics, and you can also try to bring in the influence of various celebrities with respect to Greta Thunberg, you can write, or with respect to various companies, how they are trying to ensure the sustainability when it comes to their business practices. So many of the global MNCs, whether it is you can say Google, Meta, Facebook, various other companies, what they are doing right now, they are looking at alternative power sources, renewable power sources. They are investing in nuclear energy in order to you can say power the AI boom that is happening right now. So all these aspects that you can highlight with respect to how you can say globalization is not only resulting in aggressive consumer culture, but it is also trying to ensure sustainable consumption cultures. On top of this, you can also highlight globalization is not just about consumer culture, it is also about you can say increased investment, reduced poverty, or with respect to you can say how it is you can say addressing the common you can say issues faced by the global world. And on top of it, so this is again to a certain extent straightforward question, not that much you can say difficult to address. Next, this is the 15 marker that has been given. How do you account for the growing fast food industries given that there are increased health concerns in the modern society? So illustrate your answers with Indian experience. So this question is basically linking the present scenario, how fast food industries have come to dominate the food market, and despite the increasing health concerns, whether it is regarding obesity or whether it is regarding you can say diabetes, or you can say various lifestyle diseases that are you can say increasing with respect to India. So despite these concerns, so we are still you can say promoting, or you can say still consuming the fast food. So how is this dichotomy, you can say give the reasons for these things with respect to how this dichotomy is you can say continuing with respect to India. So first, if you look at the introduction, what we are going to do is we are going to highlight fast food industries, how because of the you can say convenience and you can say cheap available, or you can say cheap cost, or with respect to easy availability, so it is resulting in increased consumption. And we will also try to introduce the increased health concerns, whether it is with respect to diabetes, or you can say with respect to heart attacks or other lifestyle diseases. Obesity also you can highlight. Then you will say that despite the increasing health concerns, the fast food industry is growing. Then when it comes to the main body, the first aspect that you are going to address is majorly with respect to what are the basic reasons why this is happening, why fast food industry is growing. So here you are going to list out the reasons, various socio-economic reasons, various cultural reasons that you are going to list out. First and foremost is increasing urbanization. So if you look at the case of India, so India majority, or at least you can say majority of the urban homes are, you can say, consuming fast food. Then to certain extent you will also say that urbanization is going to increase going forward, so the tendency to, you can say, consume more fast food industries is also going to much more increase. Other than this, you can also highlight with respect to changing gender roles. So this is with respect to women. So especially in urban areas, women are, you can say, going towards work, they are participating in the labor force. Because of this, what is happening? So the household duties are, you can say, to large extent shared by both the people. So in that sense, both of them are consumed with respect to their own work life. So in that sense, they are unable to, you can say, make sure they are able to eat healthy. So the convenience and the cheap cost and the easy availability of the fast food is making sure that people are consuming these things despite the health risk. Other than this, with respect to the globalization, the impact of globalization. So globalization to large extent is trying to promote fast food industries, whether it is packaged foods or whether it is with respect to the various can say local fast foods that are available with respect to India. So in that sense, globalization is generally associated with respect to the increased affinity towards diversification of diets, or with respect to, you can say, this consumption of fast food is also, you can say, in a way linked to youth perception. So youth perception that to large extent consuming fast food is, you can say, cool, or with respect to it is part and parcel of the cosmopolitan urban lifestyle that we are seeing emerge. So in this sense, various reasons are there with respect to how, despite the health concerns, fast food industries are still growing with respect to India. Then other than this, you can also highlight with respect to the children perspective. So children, it is mostly regarding, you can say, targeted advertisements, celebrities endorsing, you can say, your aerated drinks, or with respect to various packaged foods. All these are, you can say, in a way resulting in increased consumption of your fast food industries despite health concerns. Then to certain extent, you can also write what are the implications of this trend, further consumption of, you can say, fast food industry or fast foods. So health implications are going to be the major aspect. So whether it is with respect to India, we are seeing the epidemiological transition that is happening from your, you can say, communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases. So majorly your lifestyle diseases are going to, you can say, have a major impact with respect to India. Then other than this, to a large extent, this is also going to have, to certain extent, food diversification issues, malnutrition, obesity, and various other aspects also you can highlight. Then you can also highlight with respect to both positive and negative impacts regarding your economic growth. Positive impacts in the sense that we are trying to promote fast food industries, that is going to ensure, it's a positive impact on economic growth. Other aspect is from the workers' perspective. If the workers are not healthy, then India will be able to, you can say, unable to take advantage of its demographic dividend. So these are the basic implications that you can write with respect to if the trend continues, what is going to happen. Then you can also mention some of the initiatives that the government has taken. So these are some of the labeling initiatives that have been highlighted with respect to FSSAI. So red labels are being given with respect to fast foods that are to large extent not healthy. Then to large extent, we are also launched FIT or Eat India movement. So this is trying to ensure healthier eating habits. Eat Right India movement. So this is trying to ensure proper healthier habits. Other than this, we are also making sure there are star ratings with respect to the food products, and we also ensured, or we have a target regarding, you can say, going trans fat free. Then we are also making sure that there is a lot of, you can say, information and awareness campaigns regarding how to eat healthy. So this has been included in your Poshan Abhiyan and various other schemes. And other than this, we are also making sure that reducing the salt intake. So reduced salt intake is also a major initiative that has been taken up by the government in the recent months. So this is how you can construct your answer. First, we are going to address the reasons why we are seeing this trend despite the health concerns, and then we are going to talk about the implications, and then we are going to briefly address what are the initiatives that the government has taken, and then we are going to conclude with respect to how we have to make sure that promoting healthy habits is essential when it comes to ensuring India's health and with respect to taking advantage of the demographic dividend that we have. Again, to a large extent, straightforward question. So probably the issue is going to be with respect to what type of subheadings that you have to have with respect to your answer. So that is where probably the small difficulty you are going to face. So next, achieving sustainable growth with emphasis on environmental protection could come into conflict with poor people's need in a country like India. So this is again trying to make sure that sustainable growth and environmental protection, how it is, you can say, conflicting with respect to poor people's needs. So he is asking you, the keyword here is comment. So again, you have to address both aspects, how it is, you can say, impacting the poor people's need and how it is also benefiting the poor people, that also we have to address. So in that sense, if you look at the first introduction, here what we are going to address is mostly about sustainable development, what it is and how it is, you can say, sustainable development is, environmental protection is part and parcel of sustainable development, and how it is, you can say, a three-pronged aspects, whether it is with respect to social, economic and environmental aspects. Then we are going to talk about a connecting line is going to be written regarding how the actions or initiatives regarding sustainable development is having an impact on the poor. That is the connecting line that you are going to write. And when it comes to the main body, the first subheading that you are going to write is, you can say, sustainable growth conflicting with poor people's need. So this is the major subheading that you are going to write. So if you think of the various aspects regarding this, so how is sustainable growth conflicting with poor people's needs? So first and foremost, you can think of the livelihoods. So if you think of livelihoods, to a large extent, majority of the poor people are, you can say, engaged in labor-intensive sectors. These labor-intensive sectors, to a large extent in India, are not environmentally sustainable. So whether it is brick kilns or various other, you can say, polluting industries, they are employed in. Other than that, you can also think of the tribals. Tribals, to a large extent, are with respect to, you can say, they are in a way displaced because of the environmental protection, whether it is with respect to, you can say, national parks, biosphere reserves. All these issues are there regarding your livelihoods. Then you can also think of with respect to how, you can say, environmental protection in a way is imposing various conditions, whether it is with respect to agriculture or whether it is with respect to animal husbandry. So various sustainable measures are bearing a lot of impact on the poor. So if you think of agriculture, we are trying to shift towards sustainable agriculture, whether it is ZBNF or whether it is with respect to natural farming. Various methods are being implemented across the country. So if you look at the case, there are concerns with respect to ZBNF or with respect to natural farming that it is going to result in reduced yield with respect to various crops. Other than this, we are also concerned with respect to, you can say, increasing methane emissions from the agriculture or with respect to animal husbandry. Then we are also worried about, you can say, what type of conservation mechanisms we have to take with respect to irrigation. So we are trying to promote micro irrigation, but micro irrigation is costly. Most of the people are unable to afford these micro irrigation devices despite, we can say, government subsidies. Multiple aspects are there with respect to how the various environmental protection and sustainable growth initiatives are impacting on the poor. Other than this, we are also trying to, you can say, go towards green energy. Green energy in a way, despite, you can say, the costs of solar and wind energy have come down, they are still, to a large extent, because of their intermittent nature, they are still making, you can say, have a disproportionate impact with respect to the poor people. Other than this, you can also think of with respect to mining and resources. So mining is also a major labor-intensive sector where poor people are having, you can say, their livelihoods associated with it, or with respect to majority of the, you can say, India, if you look at the Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, these are the poorest states of India, but they are also resource-rich states of India. So because of sustainable development and environmental protection, what is going to happen? The economies of these entire regions are going to be impacted because of the sustainable growth and environmental protection. So as a way, if you are looking at the scenario, poor people are in a way affected by sustainable development and environmental protection. Then the next aspect that we are going to address is how sustainable development and environmental protection is going to benefit the poor. So here you have to highlight how sustainable development to a large extent is ensuring diversification of livelihoods, and you are going towards green energy is creating new employment opportunities, and how we are trying to, you can say, increase the skill development with respect to the poor people, or with respect to how we are trying to ensure the environment protection is going to result in good air quality, water quality. So this is going to result in better health outcomes. So multiple benefits are associated with respect to sustainable development. Other than this, you can also, you can say, write points with respect to inclusive growth. Sustainable development is also, you can say, in a way addressing the inclusive growth aspects. So where the vulnerable sections are participating with respect to the planning process, and they are able to take advantage of the provision of the basic necessities. So all these benefits that you are going to address with respect to how sustainable development and environmental protection are in a way addressing the needs of the poor people. Then ultimately what you are going to write is, the final point is, how can we balance both, whether it is sustainable development or environmental protection, with the needs of the poor people. So this is again the third aspect that you are going to write with respect to your answer. So here what you are going to highlight is with respect to shifting towards green technologies, creating green employment, that is one aspect. Then to a certain extent you can also highlight with respect to providing subsidies and incentivizing, you can say, adoption of environmental protection measures, or with respect to sustainable growth activities. Then you can also highlight with respect to provision of inclusive, you can say, inclusion with respect to vulnerable sections in the developmental planning process. So these are the various aspects that you can address with respect to how you can balance both sustainable development and environmental protection with needs of the poor people. That is how you can conclude balancing both to a large extent. To a large extent, sustainable growth is inevitable. So we have to make sure that sustainable growth is having a proper, you can say, impact when it comes to the needs of the poor people. That is how you can conclude with respect to this question. So next, the last one regarding your society. So this question is saying the tribal development in India is centered around two axes. These two are displacement and rehabilitation. So here, in a way, the question is asking you, making, you can say, in a way, it's a very narrow question. It is indirectly saying that tribal development is only concerned with respect to these two major issues. One is rehabilitation and one is displacement. So he is asking you your opinion. So with respect to this question, we have to address both these aspects, how tribal development is mostly concerned with respect to displacement, and how tribal development is mostly concerned with respect to rehabilitation. So these are the two major aspects, and you also have to give with respect to the third one, how tribal development is not only about these two things, but it is also about other aspects, whether it is regarding empowerment or whether it is regarding your, you can say, tribal culture preservation. Various aspects are included. So this question to a large extent, we can think of the context. This year or last year we have, you can say, government has, you can say, brought in many initiatives to address tribal development, whether it is with respect to PM Janman Yojana, or whether it is with respect to PM Adi Adarsh Gram Yojana, or with respect to Dharti Aba, you can say, Gram Adarsh Yojana. All these various activity, you can say, schemes have been launched with respect to tribal development. So we can think of this question in that context. So first, to a large extent, you will address your introduction with respect to tribal development and how it is to a large extent linked to displacement and rehabilitation. Then when it comes to your main body, the first aspect that you are going to address is how is tribal development linked to displacement. So if you look at the case, majority of the developmental activities that have been taken up in a way, whether it is construction of your dams, or whether it is, you can say, expansion of your agriculture, or whether it is with respect to construction of your infrastructure projects, or with respect to conservation activities, whether it is national parks or, you can say, biosphere reserves. All these have to large extent resulted in displacement of the tribal communities. Then to certain extent you can also highlight with respect to lack of job opportunities, or with respect to, you can say, lifestyle, you can say, pull factors when it comes to migration from the tribal areas towards the urban areas. So those are the various aspects that you can address regarding your displacement. Then the second aspect that we are going to talk about is tribal you can say, development, how it is concerned with respect to rehabilitation. This to large extent is addressing both aspects to certain extent. Rehabilitation provision is one issue, and lack of rehabilitation is also another issue that you have to address when it comes to this. So to large extent government is trying to, rehabilitation is mostly dealing with respect to ensuring that livelihood protections of the tribal areas, tribal people. So whenever tribal people are getting displaced to large extent, government is taking up various initiatives. If they are losing land, government is trying to provide land for their, you can say, livelihood protection. Then it is also trying to promote livelihood, you can say, other diversification with respect to tribal people through skill development, or with respect to by giving loans so that they can set up various can say, cottage industries, or with respect to small scale industries, or with respect to, you can say, cultural preservation is also one of the aspects. Government has launched many schemes with respect to you can say, ensuring that tribal people, because they are getting alienated from their land, so they are also getting alienated from their culture. So in order to address this, government is also launching various cultural initiatives so that tribal people can protect their language and protect their culture. Then to a large extent, the third aspect that you are going to address with this is how tribal development is not only about rehabilitation and displacement, but it is also about other factors, whether it is with respect to empowerment, inclusion, and it is also with respect to cultural preservation. Okay. So here you are going to say with respect to empowerment. So best example is your PESA Act, and we have also launched Forest Rights Act, FRA Act. So these are the various empowerment activities. Through PESA we are trying to ensure that they are participating in the local governments. Self-governance is being, you can say, extended to tribal areas. Other than this, we are also giving their ownership rights, land ownership rights to the tribals through FRA. Then with respect to inclusion, we are trying to promote development of these tribal areas so that migration can be reduced to urban areas. We are trying to, whether it is with respect to PM Janman, which is dealing with, you can say, PVTGs, or with respect to various Adarsh Gram Yojana, where we are trying to ensure livelihood diversification, and we are trying to develop these tribal villages into model villages. So like this, multiple initiatives are being, you can say, initiated by the central government. And other than this, with respect to cultural promotion, we are also, you can say, celebrating, you can say, Gaurav Divas is being celebrated so that the, you can say, identity with respect to the tribal culture, or with respect to their languages, all these things can be protected. So these are the multiple aspects that you can address with respect to this question. So in a way you are going to say that with respect to your conclusion, the development, tribal development is not only about displacement and rehabilitation, but it is also about, to a large extent, it is dealing with respect to empowerment, inclusion, and cultural preservation. So that is how you can end this answer. Then there is also one more question that Basavaraj sir has not dealt with in your geography questions. So this is regarding how artificial intelligence and drones can be effectively used along with GIS and remote sensing techniques. GIS and remote sensing techniques in locational and real aerial planning. So here it is with respect to large extent, if you look at the geography syllabus, there is no planning that is mentioned with respect to your syllabus. But planning is a major activity when it comes to geography. So generally people with geography optional might do well with respect to this question. Or if you don't know the basic aspects with respect to what is locational and aerial planning, but still you have the basic idea with respect to what is GIS and what is remote sensing. So you can keep those things, those keywords in mind, and you can address the answer here. So first and foremost, with respect to this introduction, so here what we are going to talk about, what is locational and aerial planning. So this is basically dealing with scientific allocation of land use or with respect to resources or with respect to, you can say, urban governance. These are the basic aspects that we are dealing with in locational and aerial planning. Then the next aspect is you are going to address a connecting line, how GIS and remote sensing techniques are utilized with respect to locational and aerial planning, and with the emergence of drones and AI. So these are, you can say, in a much more further enhancing the proper and efficient planning process. Then with respect to your main body, so first and foremost you have to think with respect to what is the role of GIS and remote sensing with respect to locational and area planning. So here you can think of multiple aspects. First and foremost is land use or land cover. So these are the basic aspects with respect to whether the land is covered with respect to forest, whether the land is being put towards agricultural use, or whether the land is being put towards industrial purpose. So if you have this information, it is going to be much more useful with respect to your planning process. Then it is also concerned with respect to resource management. So whether it is with respect to groundwater resources or whether it is with respect to mineral resources. So mapping of these resources is going to be possible with respect to your GIS and remote sensing. Then it is also much more useful with respect to disaster management. So risk zonation is being generally done with respect to the use of your GIS and remote sensing applications. Then it is also useful with respect to your infrastructure planning and monitoring purposes. So if I want to construct a highway, so how can I reduce the cost of the highway construction by ensuring the proper alignment of the highways. Then other than this, it is also addressing health and social concerns. So whether it is with respect to, you can say, pandemics, or whether it is with respect to diseases, how they are spreading. So these are the various things that can be monitored with respect to your GIS and remote sensing. Then other than this, you also have applications with respect to agriculture. So whether it is with respect to crop management or with respect to assessing how much, you can say, what is the crop area for each of the crops, or with respect to insurance. Even your Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana uses, you can say, GIS and remote sensing to assess the crop damage. All these, you can say, applications are there with respect to your GIS and remote sensing. So then the next part is with respect to, you are going to address how drones and AI are helping in better management of these aspects. So if you think of drones, to a large extent drones, they are going to be used for, you can say, hyper or high resolution maps that you can use for micro planning, and you can also use drones for proper resource management. Whether if it is mining, you can keep an eye on with respect to what type of mining activities are taking place. Then with respect to disaster management, this is going to ensure, you can say, during the disaster it is going to help you with respect to addressing the or assessing the damage on the go, and it is also going to help you with respect to, you can say, resource, you can say, or you can say proper utilization of proper giving, you can say, various whether it is food or medicines or water with respect to your disasters. Then with respect to agriculture, so we have, you can say, precision agriculture that is being promoted, where drones are being used in a large scale extent to ensure, you can say, whether it is with respect to delivery of pesticides or whether it is delivery of, you can say, nutrients. All these are being, you can say, ensured. Then to certain extent, infrastructure, this is again, drones can be used to ensure what is the progress with respect to various infrastructure activities that are taking place in the country. Then with respect to health, this is also going to ensure proper, you can say, surveillance regarding what type of, you can say, whether it is spread of diseases or whether it is with respect to spread of pandemics. Then when it comes to AI, AI is mostly about predictive analytics. So how is prediction going to help in better locational and aerial planning? So with the use of AI, what we can do is, to a large extent, we can predict what is the urbanization patterns going to be, what is the demand on the land is going to be, what type of traffic flows can we expect going forward. So if you look at various master plans that have been, you can say, developed by various cities, Delhi has incorporated AI prediction models with respect to its master plan. Similarly, various cities are, you can say, using AI to predict whether it is traffic flows or whether it is with respect to what type of, you can say, spread the urban cities are going to take. So those are the various aspects that you can think. Then with respect to resource management, so then if you look at the, we have talked about GIS and remote sensing, they are going to help you with respect to identifying the resources, and AI is going to help you with respect to whether these are manageable or whether these are extractable or whether it is, you can say, ensuring the sustainability of the resource extraction. AI is going to help you in those aspects. Then with respect to disaster management, again with respect to whether it is mapping or whether it is with respect to, you can say, what type of needs that the people are going to have with respect to disasters, AI is going to be helping you with respect to predicting these things, or whether it is with respect to predicting the disasters themselves, whether it is cyclones or various other things. So AI is going to help you with respect to predictions. Then regarding infrastructure, AI is again going to help you with respect to what are the best scenarios with respect to what type of, we can say, connectivities that we need to have regarding infrastructure, and regarding infrastructure development, AI is going to help you. Then regarding health and various aspects, similarly you can write with respect to each of these aspects, how, whether it is drones or whether it is AI, how it is helping with respect to your locational and aerial planning. So then ultimately with respect to the conclusion, so to a large extent with the emergence of drones and AI, so the locational and aerial planning is being transformed. So to a large extent you can think of addressing the needs of the people, whether it is with respect to urban areas or with respect to proper resource management. You can conclude in such manner with respect to this question. So to a large extent, so GS paper 1 has been in a moderate sense, so there are not many bouncers regarding your GS paper 1. So probably one issue that you are going to face is majority of the 15 markers are single line statements. So what type of, you can say, subheadings that you are going to you have to bring in with respect to these questions, that is where the small difficulty that you are going to face. Otherwise to a large extent straightforward paper, so we can expect probably good marks this year with respect to GS paper 1. So thank you.